It all started with a sound no one forgets, the desperate cry of a child. Rain poured down that night on a lonely country road, turning the earth into rivers of mud. Jack Turner, a single dad and former soldier, was driving home with his old pickup truck after a long day working double shifts at the factory. His headlights sliced through the storm, and that's when he saw it, a wrecked military jeep lying sideways in a ditch. He slammed the brakes, heart racing, instincts kicking in. Without a second thought, Jack jumped out into the storm. The smell of burning oil filled the air. Inside the jeep, he found a young woman, bleeding, barely conscious, and two terrified little girls crying in the back seat. "It's okay, I've got you," Jack whispered, his voice calm like he was back in the field again. The woman tried to speak, her uniform torn and covered in mud. "Please, my daughters." He carried the twins out first, wrapping them in his jacket, then came back for their mother. Her dog tags read, SGT. Emily Harris. Jack used what he remembered from combat medic training, stopped the bleeding, checked her pulse, and called 911. But help was miles away, and the storm had taken down cell towers. So he did the only thing he could, he took them home. At his small farmhouse, Jack laid her on his couch, his hands trembling from exhaustion. His 10-year-old son, Lucas, woke up and rubbed his eyes. "Dad, who are they?" he asked softly. "People who need us tonight," Jack replied. They cleaned her wounds, gave the twins warm blankets, and waited through the night. The power went out, but Jack lit candles, humming an old tune his late wife used to love, something that always calmed Lucas down. By morning, the storm had passed. The girls, Emma and Lily, clung to Lucas like they'd known him forever. Sergeant Harris woke up weak but alive. Tears welled up in her eyes as she realized she and her daughters were safe. "You saved us," she whispered. Jack just smiled. "You'd have done the same for me." But what Jack didn't know was who SGT Harris really was, or who was looking for her. She had just returned from a classified mission overseas. The accident wasn't just bad luck, it was an ambush gone wrong. When her convoy was attacked, she escaped with her daughters but had been running ever since. Jack didn't ask questions. He only saw a soldier in need, a mother trying to protect her kids. The next morning, the sound of engines filled the valley. Jack stepped out onto his porch, coffee mug in hand, and froze. Down the dirt road came a convoy, 20 military trucks, armored jeeps, and a flag car at the front. Soldiers poured out, forming ranks. Then, a tall man in a decorated uniform stepped forward, General Harris, Emily's father. His face was stone until he saw his daughter step out from behind Jack's door, holding her twins' hands. For a moment, the world stopped. The old man's eyes softened, tears cutting through the hard lines of command. He turned to Jack and saluted. "You saved my family," he said in a deep, shaking voice. "The nation owes you, but I owe you more." Jack was speechless. "Sir, I just did what anyone would." The general smiled faintly. "No, son. You did what few ever do, you acted without waiting to be asked." That day, trucks unloaded crates, food, supplies, toys for the kids, even new equipment for the local school that had been struggling for years. Jack's tiny town hadn't seen this much movement in decades. The soldiers fixed the road, built a new roof for the community center, and when they left behind more than material things, they left hope. Sergeant Harris and her daughters stayed in town for a while. Emily would often visit Jack and Lucas, helping with chores, teaching the kids to fish by the lake. Slowly, something changed. Two broken families started to heal together. Jack found laughter again. Lucas began smiling more, especially when Emma and Lily came over. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the fields, Emily looked at Jack and said, "You gave us more than a second chance, you gave us a home." Jack looked at her, his eyes reflecting the fading light. "Guess we both needed rescuing." Months passed, and one day, the general returned, not with soldiers this time, but alone. He placed a hand on Jack's shoulder. "I have one last thing for you, son," he said, handing him an envelope. Inside was a letter of commendation and an offer. Jack's old unit had requested him for a veteran support program, building homes for wounded soldiers and their families. Jack looked at the letter, then at his son, and finally at Emily and the girls. "I think we've already started," he said with a grin. The story of that storm night spread across the state, A single dad, a wounded soldier, and two twin girls who found family when the world was falling apart. It wasn't about medals or headlines. It was about what happens when one person chooses compassion over convenience. So if you're watching this right now, remember, heroes don't always wear uniforms or carry medals. Sometimes